Hi guys, here's how you turn a blanket into a cardigan. The first step is gonna be to find a blanket you wanna use. I really love using these vintage woven ones, and I personally thrift all of mine. You can find them in your local thrift stores or on secondhand marketplaces online, or I'm sure some of you have a blanket lying around your house that you could turn into a cardigan. Make sure that it is big enough to work with, depending on the size you want it to be. Mine measures 45 by 68, and I'm gonna be making a size 2XL cardigan. If your blanket is on the smaller side, you can make it like a shorter cropped cardigan. I'm gonna try to make this as long as possible. The next step is gonna be lay out your pattern pieces. I personally like to lay out my blanket flat on the ground because I don't have a big enough surface to lay the whole thing out on. So make sure it's nice and straightened out, like so. For your pattern, you can either buy a pattern on Etsy or you can cut up a thrifted sweatshirt and use that as your pattern. For my two front pieces, I'm folding this in half because I want the fringe to show on the outside. Make sure that you line up your pattern pieces before you start cutting. I like to include the fringe on my pieces, so I'm lining up the bottoms with the edge of the blanket, and I line up the front middle with the corners. Here are some helpful tips. I like to use fringe on all the edges. This saves time and it makes a really cute design, but you might have a pattern of a blanket where you can't line up the edges with the fringe, and in that case, I would hem and top stitch the edges to finish them off. Also, I like to line up the bottom of the body with the long end of the blanket. I always put my sleeves as far apart as possible because this piece in the middle is going to become the collar. Whenever possible, it is nice to line up the front right next to the back so you don't have to cut that extra seam. Now I'm just pairing each piece together where they go and pinning them to get ready to sew. When you're pinning, make sure that the outside piece is touching the outside piece. So if this was the outside of the cardigan, when you pin it, you're gonna put them together like this. And we're gonna pin our sleeves as well. Again, folding the right sides touching each other. The machine that I'm using is a Juki MO2800 from Juki Junkies. This is an expensive machine, which I wouldn't recommend getting unless you're sewing professionally full-time, but I do recommend using a serger for this project just because of all these little fibers. It makes the stitch really secure. A good option for beginners or hobbyists is the Brother 1034DX. This is about $200. You can get them from Walmart. It's a good machine to get started on and learn the ins and outs of a serger. The only thing is it's not very reliable in the long run, but if a sewing machine is your only option, I would do a straight stitch to put it together and then a zigzag stitch back down the outer pieces so it doesn't fray. Make sure your settings are fixed for thick fabrics. I don't know exactly the settings to do. I just play around with it until it feels right, and make sure to use your scrap fabric to test the stitch before going into your project. A common problem with putting this type of stuff together is it can be wavy, so doing a wider stitch length helps it to not be. Just testing it out real quick, and it looks good. When I get to the end here, I make sure to tuck all the fringe to the side so it doesn't get caught up in the stitch. At this point, flip everything inside out for the time being while we decide where we want each sleeve to go. This pattern is kind of all over, so I don't think it matters as much where each sleeve goes, but in some cases, you definitely want a certain side to be in the front as opposed to the back. I'm kind of feeling like this makes sense. Next, we're just gonna open up the body and pull the sleeve through to pin them. Then one more time so you can see, we just open this up and pull the sleeve through the tiniest bit so that, again, the right sides are facing each other. Back to the machine. Next, what really pulls the piece together is the collar. You can also add a hood if you have one, but I love to add a collar with the fringe. It really completes the piece, in my opinion. I'm just measuring the top from the very end of the fringe and measuring across. It looks like I need my collar to be 24.5 inches. That measurement is going to be different, so make sure you measure it every time. This was the piece left right in between the two sleeves, so it has this natural angle, and I'm actually gonna keep that because I like the way it looks. It's a little bit shorter than what I need, but I am just gonna pull at it a little bit to make it fit exactly. My collar ended up being about 5 inches wide, 22 inches this way, and 27 at the longest part. Now to attach the collar, I'm actually gonna face the right side of the collar to the wrong side or the inside of the cardigan so that we sew it like this and it gently flops over like that. First though, I do need to hem this rough edge. I pin the outside edges first, especially if you need to give it a little bit of a stretch. Pull it a little. This is the middle here, and then we'll put 2 more pins. You can stop here, but if you have extra fabric, I recommend putting a pocket on. Everybody loves pockets, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. I really like to leave the fringe at the bottom of my pockets. Over to my sewing machine to sew on the pocket. And then I pull the thread through from the other side so I can tie them together and make sure the stitch is extra secure. Here's the final product. I think it's so cute. I did add a little Sus Originals embroidery. It's giving Penny Lane coat vibes with the fringe, and I'm obsessed. If you make one, make sure to tag me or send it to me on Instagram at Sus Originals because I want to see if you found this video helpful or you just liked it. The best way to support me for free is by watching my videos and liking and commenting. I also sell everything that I make on live bids on Mondays on YouTube. If you're watching this the day it comes up, tomorrow I'm live bidding this, so turn on the notifications so you don't miss it. And website drops on Thursdays on susoriginals.com. I also have a membership. You can become a subscriber for 99 cents or an OG for $4.99, which gives you free shipping, early access to the website drops, and pre-bid lives. I have a giveaway up right now for my OGs. All fun, exclusive stuff, so support me if you want. I'm really appreciative that you even clicked on this video, so thank you so much for watching. Also, this is part of a Cass vs. Rick episode. We're doing 2 pieces of sunflower blanket each, so if you want to see that, it'll probably be coming out in the near future. Bye!